for those who...
What we do here is go back.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother...
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Child of Mecha live stream. I am your host, Tim, the one and only Child of Mecha. Just works out that way, right? So, guys, it's Monday. Monday. The bane of my existence, right? So, but we're here. Hey, starting off a new week. Let's get shit done. If you guys missed the post, I finished up the core part of the Jesta build over the weekend, and I am very, very happy with that. So we'll take a look at that, just kind of recap and look at that a little bit in depth first tonight, and then we're going to jump on the jump pack, no pun intended, and we're going to change up directions, and I'll tell you about that here when we get into that. But first, let's handle some business. Rocking the, man, just the classic old school Child of Mecha logo shirt tonight. If you want one of these, or you want a hat or something cool like that, hit up the Child of Mecha store, www.childofmecha.com. Hit the store button at the top. You'll be transported to a wonderful world of shirts, hats, bags, and some pretty cool clearance items that we're trying to get the hell out of here. So we're going to take a look at one of those things real quick tonight. It's a short little book, but it's pretty cool. So we're going to take a look at that. Also, The days are dwindling down on this. You have to the end of the month to win this guy. This model right here. October 31st is the cutoff line. Gunpla Talk fundraiser / giveaway. So if you've not entered, now is the time. One lucky winner will win that very model. Six other winners will win the cool little resin busts from our good friend Win, the paint pusher over there on Facebook. And then 3 more people will be winning some pretty damn cool models from our friend Dwidget on YouTube, or Thurno Hobbies and Games on Facebook. And then a little bit later this month, our good friend A. Schultz, who's in the chat over there on Facebook, also known as Berconateer on Facebook. Did I say he's on Facebook? I said he was on, I meant to say he was on YouTube, but he's also Berconateer on Facebook, who is It's a Gundam Sales on Facebook. He's going to be sending us some stuff a little bit later in the month. P. Bandai Polypod, some BMC chisels, some good stuff. So the prizes are mounting up. Please enter. It's for a good cause. We're raising money for the National Alopecia Areata Foundation, which is an amazing charity. So just do something good for the world, right? Maybe you could enter and win a cool model or something like that, right? So it's awesome. It's for a good cause. So what's else? What else? SCGMC is November 10th. Make sure you're there. Little bit later this week on Thursday night, and I'll post a little bit about that as it draws forward. But those Gundam guys are going to be doing a builders live stream on Thursday night, and I'm going to be a part of it. So man, those are just always fun because we just hang out, we just kind of shoot the shit and just build, right? And we talk, we answer questions, all that good stuff, and it's just a cool little hangout type thing that we do every once in a while. So like I said, I'll post more information about it. You can find more information about it probably in a later part of the week over on those Gundam guys Facebook page as well, so keep an eye out for that. That should be really fun. So realistically, you're kind of getting four streams this week. I mean, for what you guys pay, that's a bargain. It is. What else? All the tools that we use here tonight and the books and all that good stuff can be found on the Amazon link just below here, or over there on the good old Facebook. Check it out. Great tools, stuff like that. Already posted a bunch of stuff up there, sourced everything out for you so you don't have to go searching for it. It's a good time. So go check that out. All right, cool. So once, now that we got all that out of the way, I think, right? Let's go, boom. Here we go. This is the book that we're going to take a look at tonight. This is a shorty little book. Kind of small, it's a nice sized little book. It's only like 64 pages, so it's miniature. Let's put it that way. But this is an art book about Gundam Seed. This is called Mobile Suit Gundam Seed RGB Illustrations. It's got some really cool artwork. No matter what you think about Gundam Seed, this has got some cool artwork, especially the back here, man. It's a pretty damn cool image of the Freedom, all banged up and blowed up. So, pretty neat. Pretty neat. All right. Damn it. RF Aurora over there on YouTube says, what the hell is Kira doing to that glove? And I just noticed it. And that's something that you just can't unsee. So we're going to just turn the page. Anyway, let's get through this here real quick. Because this is, like I said, this is a shorty kind of book here. But it's got some really good pieces of art. Obviously, this is all in Japanese, with a couple English little bits and pieces here and there. Now, this is my own personal copy. The copy that I have on sale has the original Japanese tag still intact. Just basically, it's like brand new. So, really good shot of the Blitz. I like I like the white color scheme of this Blitz. I mean, look at that, you guys. That looks pretty badass. It honestly makes me want to build a white Blitz like this. Pretty cool. Nice shot of the Buster. Nice freedom there. So, like you can see, really, really good artwork here. And it's even got like the Dreadnought and the Hyperion. So, kind of like side story type of things. And then the blue frame. Really good stuff. Providence, of course. We're giving one of those away on the Gumple Talk fundraiser / giveaway. So if you want to win a master grade Providence, the Gundam version, you should enter. That's kind of cute, right? The little chibi angels and stuff. Sad, but cute, right? So. Little super deformed little action going on in the back inside cover. Pretty cool. It's a nice little book. You should get one. I think I only have one. So you should get that one. But Mobile Suit Gundam Seed RGB Illustrations. Go pick it up. It's in the clearance section on the Chata Mecha store. So if you want it, go get it. All right. So, like I said before, the main part of the Jesta is completely done. I'm not doing anything else to it. I'm calling it completed. So the core construction is done. So let's take a look at this here real quick. Let's pull this guy in to frame. And there he is in all of his glory. So, I mean, you guys have seen pretty much all of the work that has gone into this, except for maybe the upper legs and stuff, which I did before I started streaming, right? Pretty much everything else you guys have seen me work on, or you've seen me explain, all that. So, backside. I think it's a nice look. I think so. The only part that you guys have not seen that has been installed over the weekend are the underside, these bits right here. These little sections in the middle of the chest armor. Right there. Yeah, right there. These were a pain in the butt to install. I'm going to tell you guys right now. But I think they came out really, really nicely. It flows with the line of the silhouette of the chest very, very well. They protrude just slightly, which is the effect that I kind of wanted. But man, I think they look really, really great. And we're going to paint those a nice gray color, stand out from the rest of the armor. It's going to look great. So, very, very happy with this. So, you got the nice looking rifle there with the box mag and everything like that. Really nice. All the little additions that we added to the gun. Nothing crazy. Very simple. And you've got the kind of serrated edge of the shield. So, yeah. There's the Jesta. It's pretty badass looking, right? So, we also did, I also did a suspension test on this guy because if you've been watching the stream, this is going to be, it's going to be airdropped. So, let's pull the magnets off of here. So, here's the line that I have here. I've basically just got this kind of bead line, and it's what it is. It's 7 strands of steel wrapped in a kind of plastic laminate, right? So basically, it's a plastic line with just some steel braiding inside. It's got a good scale to it. Super strong, obviously, since it's steel, and it's just got a nice little sheen to it because of the plastic around it, right? So we're going to kind of preview that here real quick. So we're going to pop the beginnings of the jump pack on there, and the Quasimodo hump part of it we're going to pop on there. And then this part, like we showed before, just kind of magically gets connected there. So you've got this kind of suspension point right from the back middle. Now, that's not it. That's not it. Created two of these guys with just simple bar magnets underneath, right there. And these pop on right to the shoulder, just like that. Get these lined up properly. And there's two of them, obviously, for both shoulders. So there are your three suspension points. Pretty damn cool. Let's go back to one camera so I can actually show you this thing in basically how it's going to look. All right. There he is. All suspended out. Now, obviously, this is just a test. I'm going to have to put a kind of a crink in this wire to kind of give a better scale of it hanging and holding weight. But, yeah, look at that thing. It holds the weight really nicely. Really nicely. Oh, wrong direction. There we go. And now I'm holding it at basically a 1 point spot here, so it's got a little turn in it. But if we hold it in 3 different directions, it's not really going to move all that much. So pretty nice. Pretty nice. So yeah, RF Aurora, it's going to be 4 parachutes. So 2 on the shoulders, or 1 each on the shoulders, and then 2 are going to be mounted to this back point. So even though I only have 1 right now for the suspension test, there's actually going to be another one mounted here. So suspension test passed, I would say. What do you guys think? I think it looks pretty damn good. Now, obviously, it's not going to be in this pose, right? But just to test it to hold the weight, man, the magnets are holding perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. So, super happy with that. Super happy with that. Now we just have to finish the actual jump pack. And I've got to work on the base, you guys, because to suspend this thing, I'm going to have a base with an arm going vertical and then another arm on top of that going horizontal with, 2 other arms basically coming out the sides to attach to the parachutes. So that's going to take a little woodworking time. So I got to get out in the garage, break out the table saw and the miter saw and all that good stuff, and chop that up and get that all done. So fun times, fun times. All right, but what we're going to do is we're going to work on the jump pack a little bit tonight. If you guys saw the 30-minute warning image that we posted a little bit ago, you might have seen that little kind of elongated, roundy, it looks like a long mailbox. So this is what's going to become the boosters. Now, this is a change in direction. This is what I talked about before, because originally I was going to use these recycled parts that I casted from the Hummingbird. These were the boosters that I scratch built and casted. I was going to use these. The more I thought about it, these didn't fit the aesthetic. And even more I thought about it, this is a shortcut. I don't do shortcuts. So, we're going to make this tonight. Made one already. We're going to make a second one. We will show you how to do that, because it's actually pretty easy. It's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parts to this, not counting the trim pieces. So it's actually pretty easy, and I will show you. So let's get caught up in the chat real quick because I know there were some questions. So let's do that. But first, let's check in over there on Facebook. Looks like Berkana's doing double time on Facebook and on YouTube. Looks like Jean-Luc Bruy is with us. What's going on, Jean-Luc? Thank you for watching, buddy. Let's go back and take a looky look here at the chat. Let's see. Let's go over to Twitch. Soravan0, who's holding it down for us, doing the moderation things. Thank you, Soravan, as always. Appreciate it, buddy. He says, how are the parachutes coming along? So far, so good. I still have a little clay work to do to kind of create the billow effect, to make it look like the parachute is full of air. Joseph Calpo, thank you for the subscribe. Appreciate that. Welcome to the family. Thanks for tuning in. But I have to do a little bit more clay work on that form to get that billowing effect that makes it look like it is fully deployed with air and everything. Oh, look at that. I forgot. On Facebook, Alex. What's going on, buddy? Alex Del Seni is with us watching. Thank you for tuning in, Alex. Sorry I neglected to say hi to you. The chat was farther up than I had seen your comment. Sorry about that, buddy. Yeah, so a little bit of more clay work to do on that. Hopefully I get to tackle that here very, very soon. We're going to make a vacuum form of the actual form itself, and then what I figure I'm going to do is put that... maybe laminate it with a piece of cloth soaked in resin to give it a little bit more strength and rigidity, and maybe a little bit of texture, just a little bit, because once the cloth is impregnated with resin, it's going to lose a lot of the cloth texture. So that's the idea. We'll see how it works. We'll see how it works. But what I'm going to have to do, since the form is undercut, that vacuum form plastic is not going to come off, so I do have to cut it. That is the one downside. So to reinforce that, yeah, I'm going to probably try to laminate it with just a piece of cloth with resin. So that will... cause everything to come together, and then hopefully it should be good to go. We'll see, though. We'll see. All right, let's see. Alex says, working all night tonight. Jesta is looking great, though. Cool, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Alex over there on Facebook. So hopefully that answers your question, Soravan. Let's keep going up, and let's see who else is with us. Ace is there. He was the first one, at least, that I saw, probably. Terry T is also here. Hello, I just got done with all the adulting, and now I'm ready for the non-adulting time. You tuned in at the right time, man. Let's see. Astrea Kai is with us. Anthony is with us as well. Bailey, as always. Good deal there. Steve Middendorf says, howdy, RF Aurora. Awesome, good stuff. Let's see. Steve Middendorf says, love the beam rifles that come with the Jesta and the Jesta cannon. Yeah, the guns that come with everything is pretty badass. Bailey says, it should really pop once the primer unifies all the mods and highlights the scribing. Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. 01 Shield, the white styrene actually looks really good on the darker blue, but the final product is going to look so much better. Yeah, I hope so. I hope the color scheme that I picked out will do it justice, right? Jay Lynch is with us. Andrew Young, welcome, guys. Let's see. RF Aurora, is that going to use 3 or 4 parachutes? Oh, we already answered that. Sorry about that. Let's see. Dwidget's with us. Oh, nice. Looks like it's coming along nicely. Thank you, man. Terry T, nice. I wonder how much the Jesta weighs right now. That's a good question. I don't know. And it's going to weigh more once we add the boosters and stuff to it. But what I did was I suspended it and then piled on both of these solid resin boosters to it, and it held these just fine. So if it holds those, it'll hold hollow styrene forms. I hope equally as well. We'll see. We'll see. Let's see. Anthony says, "Hey Andrew, at work watching Tim and working on Yakdoga." Nice. It's a good looking kit. Joseph Calpo there. It's awesome that you were doing Jesta when I bought mine. Nice. Jay Lynch says, doing good, taking care of an armor to give it more details. Nice. Sounds great. Let's see. Anthony says, Tim's going to have me making parachutes now. Dude, it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, you would think it's just a parachute. Oh, you can just go out and maybe buy parachutes like in a 1/35th scale or something. Nah, man, it's just not there. Just not there. Andrew Young, I do shortcuts. Yes, you do, buddy. Yes, you do. Let's see. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Captain Weirdbeard is with us. What's going on, Captain? Jonathan G, namaste, y'all. Com, what power of magnets are used in those suspension points? Great question. Most of them are N52s. The ones that mount to the shoulders, there are N52s underneath of the kind of that collar piece that goes on the shoulders, but the ones that are actually on top are N42s. They don't make or at least at the place that I got my magnets, they didn't have N52s at that size, which was unfortunate, because those are definitely weaker. The back mounting point can actually hold the entire weight of the Jesta, but a single shoulder point cannot. So it's a good thing that that I've got two shoulder points and then the back point. So we'll see. Let's keep moving here. R for where I built my Yakdoga Saturday. I need to get an action base one for it. It has a tendency to lean forward after a few hours. I gotta get that kit. It looks like a good kit, right? Let's keep going. Everybody's talking back and forth. Gamer Bud is with us. Finished my RG Shinanju. And only cracked one piece. Golf clap. Golf clap. Nice. Alright, good stuff there. Alright, let's see. Steve Mindorf, I'm still trying to figure out a cloak for my Destiny build. Gonna have to get hella crafty to bring out the natural flow. Man, good luck. Cloaks, capes, and all that on Mecha, just like, yeah, but you know, to each their own, right? Right. Let's see. Looks like Bailey. Oh, look at that, you guys. Over there on good old Twitch, that good old modeler Tex Merquise is with us. What's going on, Tex? Man, if you don't follow Tex, you got to. She's doing some pretty cool things. She did the Goof Van Gogh. That was really cool. I thought that was super original, right? So go follow her on Instagram. So really cool stuff. She actually, Tex, are you considered one of those Gundam guys now, or just affiliated? I don't know. So we'll see, I guess, right? But again, we'll be out there November 10th. Oh, got promoted to staff. Awesome. I did not see like anything official. I didn't know. I didn't want to make any assumptions, but that's awesome. Congratulations. Clem gave her a shirt that fits like a dress. Nice. Nice. That's fun. Very good. Very good. Channels The Incredibles. No capes. Yes, Gamer Bud, I agree. I'm not into capes myself, but hey, you know, whatever floats your boat, I guess, right? So, all right, let's get to work, shall we? Let's get to work. Go back to 2-camera, okay? So what we're going to do, like I said before, we are going to build one of these guys. Let's get the Jesta up and out of the way. Actually, we're going to need the little part of the jump pack here. We're going to need that. Now, let's get zoomed in so you guys can see exactly what's going on here. All right, so you've got this, like I said, kind of elongated mailbox looking shape, right? And so what this is going to do, this is going to mount just like that. That's going to basically be the look. And there's going to be obviously some middle parts and stuff like that. The other one's going to be on this side, obviously, and then you're going to have boosters down here. Still have to work a little bit on this, detail this up, but that is the main shape, right? So we're going to build one of these tonight. And I've already cut out all the parts, and 2 sides, the bottom, and the top, right? Now, what we did is I took a tube, a styrene tube, and I cut it in half. Now, this can be super tricky if you don't know how to do it. It's actually super easy. So, what you need to do, we've got this, this is the size tube right here, and let's get zoomed out just a little bit so you guys can have a better look. So, this is the size tube that I used right here. To bisect this, all I do is I take my circle template, right? Find the right size for it. A little big there. That right there is pretty much perfect. And then this has marks on it, obviously, for the 4 cardinal points, right? So top and bottom, left and right. So what I do is I mark on the end where those points are. Now that's the easy part. What you need next is one of these miter boxes, one of these metal ones, right? You guys have seen this. It's just a simple little miter box. It pops on right to the edge of your desk. It has the 45 degrees, the 90 degrees. Some will have more, some will have 60 degrees in it. But this is the important part. This is the part you need. You can get this at pretty much any craft store, hobby store, whatever, right? But this is crucial. The trick is turn it upside down. That's it. Turn it upside down, because it has this lip here, and this lip is straight. So once you have your point on here, say our point is right there, right? All you have to do is match that up to the edge, and there you have a perfectly straight line down that tube. Easy. Now, another thing that you can do is you can take either your chisel or your hobby knife or a craft saw, hobby saw, whatever, and you can start to cut into that, right? You do the same thing to the other side. You try to match that up as perfectly as possible with that mark that you made from the template. You do that to the same side or the other side, and by the time you know it, this thing is going to be cut in half, and you're gonna have basically have a half round tube like this. Easy. That is easy. But you do need this. This is the crucial part. This is the absolutely must-have piece to bisect tubes. Now, it has size limitations, obviously. The smaller tubes that you get into, you know, things like this, you're not going to be able to cut this nearly as easily as the bigger ones. Just simply because the lip is a lot bigger than the tube itself. So you're going to have to come up with another way to do that. You can make, you can use like one of your scribing jigs and do kind of the same thing. Just like that. And then you can do the same practice. You can either start to use a chisel, your hobby knife, or your hobby saw, your photo etch saw. And that's basically how you bisect a plastic tube. So this is what you're left with, right? Now, to make this elongated mailbox shape, what I did was used the top of the tube and basically just traced out what I would need in terms of a bottom panel, bottom plate here. So that's going to act as your bottom. We've got two sides of equal height. These are all cut from one 6.3 millimeter strip. I have reinforced the bottoms with a 2 millimeter strip, so this now has 2 millimeters of gluing surface to glue down to the bottom. So that's all basically pre-cut. This is 65 millimeters in length, these three pieces here. Obviously, they're going to have a 1 millimeter plate up front, a 1 millimeter plate in the back, so it's going to make it 67 millimeters total. But then, obviously, with additions and stuff like that, it's going to be a different number. So, but let's start gluing this thing together. Let's start making this thing, and I'm going to show you kind of how easy this is. We're just going to sand the bottom of both of these sides because it had a little bit of super glue squeeze out that we need to just kind of get rid of here. Just make this as flat as possible. Super nice. Do the same thing to the other side. Nice. Okay, so now we need to have our tweezers and the one and only super glue. Come on, man, you know I'm grabbing for that. This is not a Tamiya extra thin type of deal here. It's just not. It's just not. Now, to properly align the sides with the base, I like to use a 1-2-3 block. And that's what this is. This is a machinist's block. You can get these super cheap on Amazon. I think I've got them in the little resources link below. But this is an excellent accessory to have in your workspace. This is made of steel. Obviously, it's got all these holes that you can drill into it. If you've got magnets, you can use magnets to hold pieces of plastic to this if you wanted to. You can basically magnetize two of them together. You have a perfect right angle here. Just very, very useful accessory to get to have two of them on hand. What this also does is it's a perfect right angle to glue at, right? So what I'll do is position the base right up against the block. Glue, put some glue on the edge here. Just like that. And now we're going to pop it right in there. Push it back, push it down into the corner. Now the glue squeeze out should probably stick this to the block, just like that. That's actually what you want. And now you can either peel this up with your fingers, or I like to use my chisel blade and just kind of get under there and just shimmy it up, and then that will pop off. And now you have a perfect 90-degree glue up on that base. Super easy. Super, super easy. Look at that. Ba-bang. Nice. Do the same thing the other side. Just like that. We're going to get this piece like this here. Do the same thing. Push down, push back. And like you saw before, it got glued to the block. We're going to use our chisel blade just to kind of shimmy that up. And that will snap off. And now you have got a perfect 90-degree, almost, glue up. Look at that. Very useful. Now, since this is the same width, all we have to do is come back, glue that half round tube and there you have your kind of mailbox shape. Easy, right? So let's get that glued up here real quick. A little fine tuning on this front, because that's just a little out of 90. But not too much. I'm not going to worry about that too much. All right, so to do everything like this, we are just going to get a nice bead of glue on top of these things. Just like that. Okay. And now we just have to carefully position this . There we have our glued up mailbox. So there we go. Easy. Easy. So simple. All right. So we're going to let this glue cure for a few minutes. Let's check in with the chat. Let's go back to one camera so I can talk to you guys here. Alrighty. Let's see. Let's scroll up. What is everybody up to? Andrew Young. Hey, crossbow and capes are love. Out of here. Whatever, man. Hasaki Art. What's going on, man? Thanks for watching. Bailey says, I do like the full cloth, though. The ones with the armor cape? Yeah, I'm down for that. I think that's a cool look. But the cloth itself, nah. RF Aurora, are you going to add fuel tanks to those, Tim? No. The reason why. Because the jump pack, I guess in my estimation, is more of like a one-use type of thing. It's basically like a solid rocket booster on a space shuttle, right? You mount them, you use them up, get rid of them. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here, because the jump pack is not meant to use multiple times. It's just meant to slow the descent on the drop. So it's a one-time use type of thing. It could probably be recovered, but and refueled. But aside from that, I don't think that it would necessitate fuel tanks. So, But, you know, there's a middle section in there. You know, who knows? That could be a place for fuel, right? We'll see. We'll see. But good question. Good question. All right, let's see. Steve Mindorf. It fits the overall theme, though. Scratch built the Vault of Glass armor on the Master Grade Sniper 2, and it needs the cloak to complete it. Fair. Fair. Let's see. Get some plow plate sheets. McMaster car. Yeah. You know what? That's actually a good call, Andrew, because I need to order some to laminate the base. Because I am plumb out of bigger sheets. And mind you, before you guys say, you just ordered a massive plywood-sized sheet. That's only 0.5 millimeter. It's actually a little bit less than 0.5 millimeter. It's 0.4 millimeters, right? When I go to laminate a base, it's usually at 1.5 millimeters. So I don't want to necessarily use that material and have to layer it. I usually like one thick piece of plastic over to laminate over the MDF that I use for the base. So that's what we're going to be doing. I need to order some of that. So good call there, young Andrew. Rare as Wrath is with us. Hey-o! At work now and finishing all my to-do list before I can concentrate and watch. Priorities. Let's see. Oh, look, there we go. Tex found us. She's over on YouTube now. All right, guys, don't talk about her. Let's see. William Wilms is with us. Hadn't opened it yet. What, the stream? Come on, man. Anthony, can you use that parachute technique to do an open balut? I think, yeah, probably. The balut system is more kind of like, I don't know, like more of a raft type deal. When it's deployed, that's what I'm assuming that you're talking about. What I would probably do for something like that is what's called rotocasting. So you create your form. It's something like that you probably need to form it out of clay originally, because it's, you know, round and bulbous, and it's going to have, you know, creases and folds and stuff like that. So you're probably going to want to create that out of clay first, and then cast it, or mold it, I should say, in silicone, and then, I mean, you could do a solid resin pour, but that's going to be a ton of weight, right? So what rotocasting is you use short cure resin, you dump a little bit in your mold, and then you just kind of swirl it around constantly until that resin is fully cured. And what that's going to do is it's going to coat the outside of the mold, hopefully completely, and you're going to be left with a hollow inner core. So that's going to reduce a ton of weight, but it's going to give you the rigidity of resin. So that's kind of what I would do. So I wouldn't necessarily do a vacuum form on that. It would be not exactly efficient. So, and it might actually be even harder. So, Carlo Castro's over there on Facebook. He's waving hi. What's going on, Carlo? Thanks for watching. So the re-entry balutes from Zeta, RF Aurora says. Yeah, the balutes, right there. Let's see. A. Schultz, Andrew being useful, gasp. I know, right? Come on. So yeah, cool. All right, let's get back to work. Whoop, that's not the one I wanted. That's the one I wanted. There we go. All right, so now this glue is pretty much cured up. This thing is very solid. So now all we have to do is to cut off the extra bits. And the saw that I like to use the most is this little teardrop deal, this tri-tool saw from Hasegawa. I don't know why this particular one, this teardrop shape, is just my favorite one out of their line. It just kind of fits the best for me. I don't know why. Bro Builder is with us. He says, you lose a lot of resolution from vacuum forming. Yeah, you do. You absolutely do. That's why I'm doing a 0.5 millimeter and exaggerating the folds, the bellows, and things of that nature. So, yeah. That's one of the drawbacks with vacuum forming. But if you're vacuum forming a roundy, bulbous shape like a parachute, it's going to be a better alternative to resin casting or something like that. So we'll see. We'll see. Let's see. RF Aurora. I used McMaster-Carr to get some springs. I didn't know they sold plastic sheets, though. Yes. Look under raw materials. Yeah. Yep. Andrew Young. Sheesh. I'm useful 2 times a year. Bro Builder. For an organic form, it's quite appropriate. Yeah. Absolutely. Sometimes you can get some cool armor bits out of it as well, because I used that on the Hummingbird a bit on some of the armor plating and stuff, but I didn't use it. A lot. I think I used it on the back skirts a little bit, but nothing crazy. But yeah, you don't get sharp corners. You don't get great, minor details and stuff like that. So if you're going to do vacuum forming, you either need to compensate with over-exaggerated details, like what I'm going to do with the parachute, or just kind of go another route. And there we go. Excess on that side is cut off. Little thin on this side. I don't know if that's actually going to properly cut with this, but let's give it a shot. Yeah, look at that. Just enough material to grab in and cut through. We lucked out on this one. And there we go. Squared up at the ends. So now, what I like to do, just take my bastard file and just kind of give that a light filing, just to even up all the surfaces here. Kind of rotate this part around so you're not sanding one corner or one angle more than the other. And then double check it for square. I don't know about you guys, but that looks pretty damn square to me. Yes, sir. All right, so do the same thing for this side. Check it for square. Nice. All right, so now we've got to finish off these sides. Obviously, it's got a little bit of nasty residue here from using this on the 1, 2, 3 blocks. So we need to remove that, just clean that up a little bit, and then there's a little bit of hangover from the tube onto the actual styrene sheet. So we're going to need to trim that up here as well. But first, let's start off with cleaning this gunk down here. To do that, my weapon of choice is the chisel blade. So I'll just hold this upside down with the angle part resting on the plastic itself, and then just basically let that be your guide and just clear off any excess glue or plastic that might be on this, and you're going to get a pretty good cleanup from this. Obviously, you don't want your hands and fingers and stuff like that getting in the way. You want them to be out of the way, because if this thing slips, say goodbye to a digit. Say goodbye. Okay, that side's got a good start. Let's get this side next. Clean off the blade a little bit. Get all this nasty gunk off of here. And that's just from the 1, 2, 3 block. And it's mainly just old super glue that has been just sitting on there from past glue ups. So it comes right off pretty easily. And then any part that we don't get off here with the chisel blade, we'll just sand it off. Super easy. So, all right. So both of these edges are feeling pretty good. There's still some more that we can take off of there, but the first thing that we need to do is start to trim back this edge. There's a noticeable edge right here, this hangover, in difference between the thickness of the half round and the actual thickness, the dimensions of these walls here. So we just need to trim that back a little bit, and I like just use the hobby knife here to scrape this down. Just to get most of the material off of here. That's looking pretty good so far. We're going to need to do a little bit more work on this side because there's a little bit more overhang than on this side than compared to the other one. So we're going to have to work for this one here. But that's looking pretty good. So just a little bit down here. Now that's pretty nice. Now you don't want to stop here because you're going to have like a hard corner from where you scraped that plastic off. Just a little bit of overhang right in here too. So we'll come back here in a few minutes and we'll sand this thing down and we'll make this nice and flush, make it look super pretty. Gunk off of here while we're at it. Okay, so now we should have good seams. Scrape the bottoms down here just to be on the safe side. So there, got all the scraping kind of done at this point. Let's clean off all that. So now, ooh, wait a minute. We missed a spot right there. Okay, so all the scraping is done. These seams are pretty much nice and flat. Now we just have to kind of get that round shape back into form, because like I said, from the scraping it leaves kind of a hard edge on a bit of the half round. So to do that, we're just going to get kind of a, you know, kind of a roughish grit sandpaper. I think this is 400. So we're just going to just back and forth. Whoops. And this is not a finish type of procedure right now, so you don't have to worry about marks or anything like that. This is just simply to get the form back to where we wanted it, you know, before. So this is just a blending procedure right now with the plastic. Basically just to get that curve super, super nice, super smooth. Yeah, see there. No hard shadows on that seam. That's what you're looking for. If you see hard shadows on that seam, then there's still a hangover of plastic left on the piece. So just going to continue the procedure on the back half of this thing here. Okay, fingernail test will prove if you've got a seam. Because if your fingernail grabs onto anything on this, then you still got sanding to do. Win says, that is awesome. I see those tier shaped tools in the shop, but have no idea what they are used for. Love it. Though it was for smoothing out or blend clay surfaces. Oh, that deal. Oh no, this is from the Tri-Tool series, Win. The Hasegawa Tri-Tools. This is basically a photo etch saw. So this actually has teeth on it, even though you can't really see it too much in the camera. There is a fine tooth up here, and then this is more coarse on this side. I find that this coarse side just really is kind of a great universal, you know, cut. But yeah, those things are also, they have teardrop like scrapers, you know, used for sculpting and stuff like that. So that might have been what you were seeing. The Tri-Tool, the Hasegawa Tri-Tool comes in like this. And this is the modeling saw set TP-3. And it just basically, like I said, it's a photo etch saw set. There's a bunch of different saw blades. Like you've got this straight saw blade here that you can actually put into a utility knife. There's some other ones here, but like I said, the teardrop is just kind of my personal favorite. So that's what I use the most. All right, getting this smoothed back out. Getting all those seams nice and flush. And then once we do this, I'll catch back up with you guys in the chat. See what the hell you're talking about. Because I see the chat and it's just going blah, 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 just like machine gunning. It's like crazy. Okay. Oh, that's smooth. That's smooth. Yes. So, we've got the shape. Where's the other one here? Obviously, there's a little trim piece down here, but you get the idea. Look at that. Matches right up. Bang. Bang on. Let's go back. All right. Let's catch up with what you guys are talking about here. Excuse me. Wow, it's already 11, you guys. Holy shit. We've already gone an hour with this thing. All right. Let's see. William Wills is with us. I ordered my giant sheet of plow plate from Amazon. Nice. Can't wait to see. Can't wait just to see how large it is. It's 4 feet wide by 8 feet long. So if you've ever seen an actual full-sized sheet of plywood in like Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that, that's how big it is, man. It's not small, dude. You will never ever want 4 half-millimeter plate ever again. I'm amazed by the bargain. So, good on you, man. Good on you. All right. Andrew says, all right, I'm get off the stream and eat because college students eat for no reason at this time. So, peace. Whatever. Anyway, Bro Builder, I'm actually claying up a mold form right now. Sweet, sweet. But Bro Builder does like props and stuff, you guys, like serious real deal shit. So, it's probably like a full scale prop gun or something like that he's working on. Who knows? There's the Dwidget. Someone say pizza pockets. Nice. Let's see. Bailey says, there are some really handy tri-tool sets out there. Yeah. So the tri-tool sets are pretty awesome because not only do they have the photo etch saws, they've actually got these cool scribing templates. And these are photo etch width. So obviously you can see how kind of bendy they are, right? So they have those, they have the saws, they have a bunch of different sets. So yeah, the Tri-Tool series is a great product. So highly recommended, highly recommended. All right, let's see. Arthur says, I know I'll probably get one of everything while I'm in Tokyo. Dude, hit up the Volks store in Akihabara. It's right outside of Akihabara Station. Amazing. I dropped, like, I know I mentioned this probably last time when we were talking to Ken, but I dropped like 2.5 bills in there. It's an amazing store. Just walls of high-Q decals, walls of high-Q metal parts, walls of Kotobukiya plastic parts, just you name it, they have it in terms of tools. Model selection, it's so-so, but you don't go there for model selection. You go there for tools. Holy shit, you guys. I spent hours in that place just looking up and down the aisles and trying to think, oh, do I need this? Do I need that? And had to probably put back half the basket that I had accumulated after an hour or two. Amazing store. Amazing store. Let's see. William Williams, good point. He says, do you have a list of items you can't leave Japan without? And that's a good call because one of my recommendations is not to buy kits in Japan. Don't buy kits. Just don't. Because number one, either you're going to need a suitcase to fly them back, which you'll have to pay for luggage costs for the majority of airlines, because I don't think Southwest flies to Japan, sadly. So, or you're going to need to ship them back, which again costs money, right? So don't buy kits in Japan because by the time you get done with those additional costs, they'll be either close or at retail cost of what you can get at, say, USA Gundam Store, Amazon, those types of places, maybe even your local. Maybe like Barnes & Noble with a coupon or something, I don't know, for a common kit, whatever. Get the rare stuff. I get that. If you can't find it anyplace else, if you find it in a store like P Bandai or something like that, like a old school Jesta Cannon or whatever, Facebook gonna conk out. What? Stop it. Stop it, Facebook. Ugh. What is Facebook doing to me? Stop it. See? See? It's doing it again. Damn Facebook. Anyway, but yeah, P Bandai, if you find something like that or just something rare, then get that kit. Otherwise, go tools. Buy tools. There are tools in Japan that you cannot find here in the States, that you cannot find on like Hobby Search or HLJ or whatever, right? There are plenty of tools in Japan that you just cannot find anyplace else than a hobby store in Japan. So if you go to Japan, don't buy kits, buy tools. Plain and simple. But that's actually a good question, William. Great question. Bailey says, that's what's up. A friend picked up some 6mm high-Q scribe tape for me while he was in Japan. This was before USA Gundam Store started selling it. Yeah, see? That's the deal. Let's see. Our Edwin RSA is with us. Welcome, Edwin. Good morning, brother. Let's see. Oh, Bailey. With scraping. Yeah, sorry about that. That's, yeah. Sorry. I figured it might be a bit harsh, but what are you going to do? Or for Aurora, get that focus fixed, Tim. Sorry about that. I was more focused on the procedure than the camera focus. But you guys get the deal. Tim scratching tubes sounds like my dog begging for burgers. What? That's awesome. Okay. Let's see. Doing some cleanup and working an old backlog. Nice. Edwin RSA there. Armored Core from 10 years ago. Holy crap. Tex Marquise. Fingernail test never fails. Damn right. Damn right. William Wilms. I'm going to have to I'm going to have to drop some cash at FedEx to get my some of my paints that I have a hard time finding here. Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Paints are a touchy subject because of import rules and things like that. Especially if you work with solvent-based paints like lacquers and things like that. So your paints like Gaia, finishers, some of the harder to get Mr. Color paints, from Japan. They're hard to get here in the States because of the import laws and rules about solvents and flammable materials. They cannot be air shipped. That's just the rule. They have to be ground shipped or shipped on a boat, which sucks because not only are you paying more for shipping, you're waiting longer, so your money's tied up longer, and then that basically limits the selection of stuff that we get. It's a shame, but it's the world we live in. So yeah, paints are tough. And then FedEx, you might want to check with FedEx before you try to ship anything from Japan to the States, because a lot of those shipping companies just have a rule like, nope, sorry about that, not doing it. Bailey says, some of those photo etch teardrop tools are for airplane modelers to scribe or rescribe panel lines on fuselages and wings. Yeah, I've seen those. I forget what they're called, and I think Kenny Lim, the toy maker, uses some of those for some of his scribing too, and I've seen those particular shapes before. So yeah, that's a good call there too. Hasaki Yard, man, I tell you, scribing new lines on SD tank treads are a pain in the neck. I believe it. Jay Lynch, has someone used the custom guide from Gun Primer for scribing panel lines? No, I have not. Make sure you save 2K for a shipping container. Yeah, right. Good call there, Dwidget. Nice. I don't know if anybody, if any of the other than you and maybe Ace, we're going to need a shipping container. Let's see. Bailey, I've been seeing their promo vids, been sort of interested in trying it out. I've not seen it. I'll have to check it out. Jay Lynch says, Bailey, yes, I'm on the same boat as you. The problem is their site is in Korean and the translator is kind of meh. Gotcha. Interesting. Tex Marquise, breaking your first rule in buying kits in Japan. Sorry, not sorry. Sending a suitcase back with a friend, LOL, for a price. Yeah, well. She also says, tools, good idea. I thought so. Let's see. Julius Dembski. Sorry, missed the first hour. Dinner with a family. I'll watch it tomorrow. Hey, dude, don't. Family's more important. Steve Mindorf. Ooh, I still can't walk by my Armored Core White Glint Armored Core 2 version without admiring it for 5 or so minutes. Nice. A. Schultz. Tools in Japan. Well, that depends. I can grab them from Japan for everyone without a huge markup. Also, kit prices, if you order bulk enough, they hit US side about Japan MSRP too. Yeah, but that's not necessarily the same kind of parameters for your normal consumer, right, Ace? I mean, you're running a business here, so I'm sure you get that stuff at a much better price. So, oh, Bailey's going to sleep. Well, good night, brother. Take care. A. Schultz says, things are getting better in the U.S. for sure for things that were not available here for a long time. Yeah, as the hobby picks up steam, there's more of a desire for companies to import these things. I mean, you look at USA Gundam Store, for instance. And, a perfect example is SMS Paints, the Australian-based paint company that Scott Taylor owns and operates. And man, he just made it kind of a name and a reputation for his company down there in Australia that, everybody wants to try them. And they're good paints, too. And the fact that you get, basically 3 times the amount of paints as compared to, say, Mr. Color, that cost is well worth it, in my opinion. Because he's got shades and types of paints that you really can't get in almost any other line, especially like the color shifting paints, the chameleon colors and pearls, and some of his other ones like glow in the dark paints and all. Those are legit buys. I love my the ones that he sent me, and yeah, super nice, super nice. Robert LaFlash, I still want to know when the SMS paints are going to be available. Dude, you missed the boat, brother. They've been available for like the past, I want to say, month or so on USA Gundam Store. They're, man, you missed it. You missed it, dude. A lot of them are sold out already. A lot of them, especially like the glow in the dark paint, I think that's sold out in like an hour or two. Once they got them, up on the site, a lot of those colors sold out like that. So he says they're always out of stock. Yeah. I mean, for a reason, right? They're really good paints. They're really good paints. I mean, they're airbrush ready right out of the bottle. Which is really nice. And I don't know if you guys follow Scott and SMS Paints, but he's got a new set of Pearl paints coming out soon that look really cool. I don't know if we're going to get them in the US because they are a limited edition, but fingers crossed, right? Let's see. A. Schultz, import on solvents. Yep, they have issues with that. Yeah, it sucks, dude. William Wilm, Steve Mindorf, I saw in an earlier stream you were asking about hobby shops near St. Louis. Have you heard of Mark Twain Hobby Center? Interesting. Dwidget, we can help with that as much as we can. Yeah, we have Thurno. That's from Ace. Tex Murky says, been dying to try SMS. Get some. They're really good. Really good. Robert LaFlash over there on Facebook. Ghost of Xeon was one of the first that I was watching. Yeah, that's Scott, and man, he's such a good guy, man. Love Scott to death. SMS paints are worth it as long as USA Gundam doesn't ship it in a bubble mailer. That's from RF Aurora. Yeah, I know, right? Hopefully they ship it in, bubble wrap in a box, keeping it, safe. Edwin RSA, Armor Core are complex kits, but worth the effort. Nice. Yeah, totally worth the cash and the effort. That's from Steve Middendorf. Sweet. All right, cool. So, we're all caught up. But yeah, you guys, if you want something hard to find, or if you're not able to go to Japan, definitely Ace and the Dwidget over there on YouTube is really, really good way to go. Ace is Burkana Tier over on Facebook with It's a Gundam Sales, and then Dwidget is Thurno from Thurno Hobbies and Games over on Facebook, and man, both of those guys are legit. So hit them up. They can help you out with hard to find items, tools, and stuff like that, kits if you want them to. So really good prices from both of these guys. So yeah, hit them up. Hit them up. Hit them up. All right, RF Aurora, they shipped my first order in a bubble mailer, and the magenta broke open and spilled over everything. Oh, I thought I saw that on the Facebook groups. Somebody posted that. That might have been you. That sucks. That sucks. Contact them. They'll fix it. They'll fix it. They always do. They're good like that. All right. Back to work. It's 11:18. We got about 45 more minutes of this. So we got this. This is all cleaned up, sanded smooth. All of these seams are just indistinguishable now. So the next thing we need to do is I want to sand the bottom smooth. To do that, you can either take a nice little sanding block like this, or if you have like an extra piece of MDF, just make kind of like a sanding plate like I have here. Just a couple passes back and forth on this guy. We'll flatten that up and get that nice and buttery smooth, and take off any of that extra nastiness here on the corners that sometimes build up from sanding. So that's a good call there. So the next thing we need to do is we need to cap these two ends, right? And we just have some 1mm sheet on both of the sides that we trimmed up. So to do that, we're just going to use this piece of styrene that I cut a little bit earlier to size. We need to get the tape off of here that I used earlier. And it's not a big deal right now. Alright, we're going to trim this end plate down to size. And you want more, obviously, than what's needed. You don't want to cut it to the shape. You want, obviously, hangover on all sides. So you can trim this down and make it flush with the actual piece. That's important. So what we're going to do, we filed this whole end nice and flat earlier. So this is all good to go. Get our super glue on there. And we just need to carefully line this up. Make sure we have overhang all the way around. we do press, and that glue will start to cure. Now we got to do the same thing to this other side here. And do we have enough for this? Oh, I think we have just enough material there to cap that in, so that's good. But first we're going to sand this side, because this is the glossy side of this sheet. Tamiya plot plate, if you get the actual Tamiya brand, will have two different finishes on the side of the plastic. One side will be somewhat of a matte finish, which you can you know, draw on with pencil and stuff like that real easily. The other side will be kind of a glossy side, which will not accept pencil lead or anything like that. So if that's the side that you have, I always sand that down just to scuff it up a bit, make it a little bit more grippy to the glue. Because the glue piece needs to be grippy. That's my new favorite word, grippy. Alright. Get this glue on here. And there we go. Now, these two ends will strengthen the overall shape of this thing. You know, the seams, obviously, with this being super glue, are not going to be really, really strong. They're going to be strong enough, mind you, but you don't want to go pressing down on this thing with any great force, or else it'll just pop apart. But these two ends will obviously add a great deal of strength to this shape. So that's why we cap it like we're doing. All right, so now these two are capped up. Glue is set up. Now we just have to trim it back to the approximate shape. And we're just rough cutting out, cutting the excess off of here with our nippers. And we want to get as much off of there as possible, but leave some on there to trim down perfect to the shape of the piece. You don't want to trim off too much, or else it's just not going to be nice and even. All right. Got plastic flying everywhere. All right, so now we've got the rough shape on both sides. Now what we do is we're just going to trim off this excess with our hobby knife. So for this, I just grabbed the little NT cutter blade. I like these little guys for trimming and getting these parts nice and flush. And we're just going to let that blade just kind of ride that surface, and that's going to act as a guide to trim up this excess. Make a couple light passes of this, and that should be really good. If you've still got just a little bit of overhang on there, it's not a big deal, because we're going to still kind of come back and sand this up and kind of get our final shape before we move on to detailing or anything like that. All right, so I always like to start with the bottom, because that's the easiest plane to start with, and then start with the sides. Just start working your way around this kind of mailbox looking shape here. Now, as you start to go around the curve, you want to straighten out your blade perpendicular, or parallel, I should say, with the shape. You don't want it to be at an angle like this. You want the edge of the blade to be parallel with this. Because if you don't, there's a chance you could gouge the plastic or the surface. You could slip and also just cut yourself, which is it's not what you want. Not what you want. So keep your blade nice and parallel. do kind of a short slicing motion and just kind of work your way around this curve. And once you've got that, man, this thing will be nice and flush, and it'll basically blend in to the rest of the shape seamlessly. And like I said before, if it's not perfect after you get done your knife work, don't worry about it, because we're going to come back and we're going to sand this edge down perfectly flush, and we're going to make that seam completely disappear. Okay. So we're about halfway done with this side. Just kind of short slicing motions. That's what's going to get you. And if you need to, you can scrape it down too. I wouldn't necessarily rely on the scraping to fix this particular seam. You're going to need to sand that, but it removes, you know, a decent amount of material. Okay. All right, now we've made it around one curve. So now and there we go. That looks pretty good. There's a space right here that's a little bit of a weird shape. It's not smooth, but we'll get that. We'll get that, right? Let's get this other side here, and then we'll start to wet sand this thing down nice and smooth, and just kind of get it just baby butt smooth. Okay, good there. Let's start working our way around this thing. Now, on a flat section like this, it's okay to angle your blade like this. For just completely flat surfaces, it's fine. It doesn't matter what angle you hold your knife at like this. On curves, going around this curvy part, like I said, you need to keep it parallel to the actual surface. And just slowly, 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 little slicing motion. Almost, if you guys have ever seen, like, that show, I love this show, How It's Made, right? It's like they take you in factories and stuff and see how things are made. If you guys have ever seen like an industrial sized paper cutter, it cuts with the very same motion that I'm using here to trim this plastic. It kind of moves forward and cuts. And it just slices the paper clean. And that's essentially the same kind of procedure and technique that we're using here. Okay, almost done. All right, so now we're going to wet sand this thing, but before we do, we need to take down any last little bits of overhang, and we're just going to do that kind of with our rough sandpaper. And we're just going to very quickly work around the perimeter of this end. Just to smooth it out. Okay. So that's not a bad silhouette right there. That's pretty smooth all the way around. It's nice and square in the corners on the bottom. That's looking pretty good. That's pretty much where we want it to be. Let's do the same thing to the other side, and then we'll pull out the water, and we'll get this thing started to be wet sanded. Okay. Now I see a little bit of buildup right there, so let's get a little scraping going on here. I think that's where that weird corner was. Yeah, there's definitely a seam right there. So, to get a little bit more aggressive, use your sanding block, and you can just kind of go back and forth like this. That will take down pretty much any sort of overhang. Very nice. All right, so let's get the water. All right, and where did that? Here it is. All right. So now, last step here before detailing to get this shape nice and ready for details is to just wet sand this whole thing down. So you've got your basin of water here, you've got your wet sandpaper, and you're just going to go back and forth on this thing, and this will make it just super, super smooth like we've seen with other parts in the past. Okay. All right, so the last step is the bottom here. All right, so now just dip that in the water, and if it floats like that, man, this thing is seamed up. There's no air escaping, which means there's no water getting in, which means it floats, which means you've got an awesome piece. So now, put the water out of the way so we don't spill it. Clean up, dry our work area here. So let's compare these two, shall we? Lengthwise, spot on. Widthwise, perfect. Let's see. Looks like they're nice and square at the ends. Perfect. Perfectly duplicated. Done. So now, all you have to do is just add your details, which obviously I'm still in the middle of detailing this one, so we're not going to do much of that here tonight, but that's how you make this kind of mailbox shape thingy, right? So there we go. All right, let's get caught up in the chat, shall we? Let's see what's what. All right, here we go. Steve Mindorf. Yeah, Adam at USA Gundam Store is a good guy. Post office lost an order of mine that I dropped a lot of cash on, and he called me, told me what happened, and made everything right and threw in extra. Yeah, see, Adam's a good dude. Adam's a good dude. You just hit him up, man. He'll bend over backwards and work to make any issues right. Let's put it that way. So yeah, Adam's good people, man. Let's see, RF Aurora. Yeah, it got cleared up. Just need to get to using the paints after I get the Akatsuki finished. Nice. RF Aurora. With all the sanding and shaping you do, Tim, would you think you would think that you would have arms that look like Popeye's? I mean, I kind of do, right? Gun show? No. Anyway, that was dumb. Let's check in over on Facebook before I embarrass myself further. Robert LaFlash. It's like whittling a piece of balsa wood. Yeah, I mean, basically, right? We're just shaping plastic and molding it to our will. That's basically what we're doing. I've always liked to say that it's like sculpting with plastic, you know? Because we're just basically making these shapes and bending and shaping plastic. It's just like sculpting, plain and simple. There's our friend George, or Johnny. Jump pack like a space marine. He also says, hello, Tim. What's going on, brother? Thanks for tuning in. No, the jump pack is to simply slow down the descent of the drop. Basically, this is going to be airdropped, and the jump pack is going to be used to slow that descent even more. It's basically a helping mechanism to complement the parachutes. I did the math, and the Jesta weighs 114. I think it was 114,000 pounds. So with today's top-rated military heavy parachute, it would take 40 parachutes to properly drop the thing to Earth. So I can't fit 40 on the base, so that's just a non-starter. So I can fit 4, 10 times less. So it's going to need some help. And if you looked at the some of the other parachute-looking Gundams out there, like the I think it was P Bandai HGC here recently that they made a parachuting ground Gundam. It's got the kind of the big jump pack over top of the backpack frame that it uses. So it's kind of that idea. So I think it'll end up pretty cool. But Steve Middendorf. And there's a dad moment, right? 2 tickets to the gun show. No, stop that. Stop that. Anyway. All right, what time is it? 11:41. Let's keep it going. Let's keep going. let's show you how to do some detail on this thing, okay? We're going to show you how to wrap this plastic strip, okay? So what I did, and this is actually a little bit more complex than just basically taking super glue and wrapping it around. You actually have to really, really be careful, because if this is not straight, you will definitely see it. You will notice it. So what I did was I created basically like a scribing jig, right? Just this is 15 millimeters from top to the inner corner, and this is a 6 millimeter strip right here, and this just hangs on to the piece, just pops on right to the corner, and now I have a perfect tracing guide that I can just run a line all the way around. And you have to be really careful, especially around the curves, because you can only really go just a little bit before it starts to angle down your pencil. Okay, so now you have a perfectly straight line, 15 millimeters from here to the pencil mark, all the way around, and perfectly straight all the way around, right? So what we're going to do, what width was this strip? I think this was 4.8 if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Yeah, that was 4.8 millimeters. So let's find our 4.8 half mil here. Where did it go? Here it is. I think this is the one. Yep, cool. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of really, really roughly wrap this around here, just kind of dry, just so we can cut enough strip to properly wrap this thing. We're going to give it a few millimeters at the bottom. We're going to cut. So you've got overhang on both sides, right? And this is just kind of sitting there. It's not glued or anything like that. So now this strip, obviously since it's straight, does not naturally want to bend around this curve. So what I like to do is put the curve into the strip. And to do that, it's very simple. You just take kind of like your needle file or something like that, and you just start pulling it just like that, like you would like ribbon. If you guys do this, you know, you can do this for ribbon, and you'll make little swirlies for like birthday presents and stuff like that. Let me see. You just pull it around and see how it naturally now starts to curve. Spin it around, do it from the other side too. And the more you do it, the more pliable this plastic is going to become, and the more curve it's going to take on. This will make it a lot easier to wrap around this piece, because it's going to naturally want to curve. And then the super glue, once we apply that, will just do the rest of the work. So there. So now we've got this thing curved up, and it's much softer now than it was, right? So what we need to do next is put some glue on this bad boy. We're just going to spread this around on the inside here, because we want it to nice even coat of super glue. Now for this, I'm going to need my eyes. So let's throw the visor on here. Let's get zoomed in. All right, so this takes a little bit of caution. It's not straight. That's straight. All right. First thing is, it's super important to start it right on that line and keep it straight. All right. So you want to start on one side, then you start to pull the strip nice and taut, and then try to follow the line around the piece. And then just kind of go back and press that strip down. Now you're going to get glue out, which we'll need to clean up later, but that's kind of how easy it is to wrap a strip like this around a piece. Now, the true test to see if what you just glued on is completely straight is to take your straight edge like this, and if both edges line up properly, almost, that's close. Super, super close. Yeah, I'm about maybe a 1/4 millimeter off alignment. But you're never going to see that. You're never going to notice that little bit off of alignment. All right. So now that this is cured, we'll just trim off the excess here. Just like that. Do the fine trimming with your hobby knife. Like that. And there we go. Now we have a flat piece. And that looks pretty much the same. Aligned pretty good, right? So, good stuff. Good stuff there. Robert LaFlash over there on Facebook, he says, this is helping me get back into the mood to model. Painter's block is killing me. I'm lost as to what colors to paint the kit. That sucks, dude. We've all been there, though. We've all been there. Johnny over there on Facebook, he says, like the Balut system from Zeta Gundam used for atmospheric re-entry on the Hayaku Shiki, thanks for the science behind the explanation. Yeah, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. RF Aurora, so does anyone know if I can put a heating system in my garage and still work with solvent-based paints? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. So, okay. Let's talk about solvent-based paints, shall we? The main thing that you're going to need is a spray booth. If you have a spray booth that moves a good amount of air, then you'll be perfectly fine to put a heater in your garage. You know, for safety's sake, put it, you know, maybe on the other side of your garage or something like that to heat the entire space. But yeah, I mean, as long as you're moving that overspray and that air-based solvent, or atomized solvent, I should say, as long as you're moving that out of the room, you're going to be perfectly fine. Because there's just not enough in the air at that point to catch a spark or flame or anything like that. Just because you have a heating unit in there doesn't necessarily make that atomized solvent flammable at that point. I mean, realistically, you would need an open flame, right? Because, I mean, like you guys have seen, I paint right here in my basement. And it's been perfectly fine. I don't have a filter on my spray booth either. That's another common misconception. If you're, as long as you're moving that air through, as long as you have good airflow, that's the determining factor. As long as you have really good airflow, you don't need a filter, because that's just going to stifle your spray booth. And I mean, as long as you're not like being a ham-fisted idiot and spraying your paint right on an electrical wire or something that could potentially, but rarely ever spark, then you'll be fine. You know, everybody hears these crazy stories about, you know, some modeler blowing up in their garage or in their workroom and things. And, you know, you ask, oh, where'd you hear it from? Oh, I heard it from another guy. Then you ask that guy, where'd you hear it from? Oh, I heard it from this other guy. Nobody that I've ever run into has had firsthand knowledge or even secondhand knowledge of something like that actually happening. So until I see 100% concrete proof, until I see it like pictures or something, I think that's an old wives' tale, to be honest with you. Now, mind you, there's probably been some idiots out there that have had like a candle or smoking a cigarette while you're painting. I mean, that's just welcoming, you know, calamity at that point. That's just stupid. You know, as long as you're practicing, you know, good, proper, safe techniques, yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be perfectly fine. All right, so R for R makes sense. My parents are always afraid I'll blow up the house even with my spray booth. Nah, brother, you're not. You're not. As long as you have good airflow, you'll be perfectly fine. You'll be perfectly fine. So, Dwidget, sounds like a regular night for aviation maintenance. Funny, but I don't get it. So, please explain, Therno. Please explain. Let's see. Johnny over there says, I always trim away from my fingers. I cut myself for several times. Yeah. Be careful trimming the plastic because, and make sure you're using a sharp blade, because if there's any resistance to that blade, that's going to make you push the blade harder. And if that resistance is relieved, you're still pushing hard on that blade, and that's going to... bad things will happen. So if you have a sharp blade, there's going to be less resistance to it. So if you use a sharp blade, you'll be fine. So, yeah. But, you know, some people trim toward themselves like I do, which is not a good thing. And, you know, it's kind of a do as I say, not as I do type of thing. But, yeah, if you can, trim away from your appendages. Robert LaFlash, Pixar, it didn't happen. Damn right. With that air booth thing, you're damn right. Pixar, it didn't happen. So, fun times. Fun times there. All right, guys. 11:54. I think this is a good stopping point. I think this is. Because on Wednesday, we'll pick back up. Obviously, I'm going to work on this thing tomorrow and get hopefully a ton of detailing done, and we'll kind of take it from there and continue working. Like I said, I also want to start on the base. That's going to be a project in and of itself. So hopefully I can get all the MDF cut tomorrow. Not going to promise anything, but I still need to order plastic to laminate it and everything like that too. So it might be a long shot. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But there he is. Dwidget says, to elaborate, when we have to repaint a plane, it's in an enclosed hangar with industrial heaters going so we can speed up the curing process. See? And the shit that they use to paint like planes and tanks and heavy machinery and all that, oh my God, the solvent in those things are like insane. So, perfect example. Completely safe. As long as you have good airflow. Perfectly safe. All right. Let's put a bow on this one, you guys. Chowder Mecha shirt. If you would like one of these, hit up the Chowder Mecha store on chowdermecha.com. Hit the store button at the top. You'll be able to buy shirts, buy hats, bags. You can just get this cool little Gundam Seed book in the clearance section. Go buy that stuff, because I'm trying to move all that stuff to a good home. Going out to California doesn't pay for itself. Let's put it that way. And Anthony says, hey, Tim, what do you think of how GBWC is going this year? I mean, so far so good. We've had some really cool builds. Um, the build that just won Philippines, John. I can't remember his last name. I'm actually friends with him on Facebook. He did a bang up job. Anthony says, are they consistent with their judging because of last year? You know, that's a great point. I mean, as far as I've seen, kind of the creative versus technical has, I think, run its course, honestly, which kind of gives me hope. Because, I mean, you look at Singapore, you look at Hong Kong, you look at Australia. All of those were pretty technical looking builds, you know. They all had a hint of creativity included, but they were all fairly technical. So yeah, I'm hopeful. Let's put it that way. Let's put it that way. Especially like Singapore. David Liu, Chaco Falcon did the Azer Nightingale, and you know, David and my style are pretty similar. He builds very technical. You know, clean builds, panel lines, details, hard edges, stuff like that. Similar to what I do. So yeah, I'm actually, yeah, I'm content with what has won so far this year for GBWC. So yeah, I'm good with it. Not that my opinion matters or anything, but hey, whatever. RF Aurora, thanks, Dwidget. I'll have to hit you up sometime when I make the case to my parents. There you go. Sweet. See? Expert knowledge. In more than one area, too. Awesome. All right, so where we were going with everything. Child Mecha Store, hit that up, clearance stuff. Like I said, trying to get that all that stuff moved to a good home. All of it is brand new. All of the books have tags, the Japanese original tags that were included with the kit. You know, the little foldy things that are included with Japanese books. All of that stuff is still in there, brand new. Basically, it's been sitting in storage for about 14 years. So, yeah, brand new stuff. Second, go win this model right here. Win this thing on the Gunpla Talk fundraiser / giveaway. One lucky winner will win that. 6 more will win the cool little resin bust from our good friend Win, the paint pusher over there on Facebook. And then 3 more winners are going to be winning some really cool models from the Dwidget. Mr. Thurno Hobbies and Games over on Facebook. He sent us some really cool kind of limited kits, and he also sent us Gundam Providence Gundam version with the base and everything. Super cool looking. We're going to be giving those 3 away. So if you've not entered, if you've not donated, I think now's the time, because the prizes are starting to stack up. Ace Schultz over there on YouTube, or Conatir as he's known over on Facebook, is also sending us some other prizes here later on this month. We're supposed to be getting a P Bandai Polypod, some BMC chisels, some other cool stuff. So those will be added to the pile of prizes. So yeah, go ahead and enter. We're raising money for a really good cause. So do something good. Make yourself feel good. Do something for the world. Anyway, it's open to everybody, too. Anybody around the world can enter. Singapore, there's some hurdles to jump, but we'll help you. Contact us. SCGMC is coming up in less than a month. I got less than a month to finish this thing, you guys. The race is on. But hey, I'm going to be there. I'm going to do an hour demo of scratch building, similar to what you guys see here on the show. And I'm gonna be going on at 10:30. Hopefully, I'll have the Jesta out there and enter it into the competition, meet and greet everybody, see everybody. This Thursday, the Gundam guys are going to be doing a builders stream. So stay tuned for more information. Check out my social medias and all that stuff for more information. I'll post more info when the time comes. And so yeah, so we'll meet back here on Wednesday, shall we? I think so. I think it's a date. All right, guys. So until Wednesday, man, be safe. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Build something cool. We'll see you next time. Bye, guys.